So something that we're going to want to do is to learn how to make lines that are different than the kind of lines we use when we write. We want to be able to actually create textures, whether it's fur, hair. We want our pencil lines to have a sense of life, perhaps a sense of, if not wildness, a little lack of control, so they can seem almost natural. We don't want it to look like an architect or engineer carefully sculpted that line across the forehead. So I'm going to teach you a little cartoon that's just a really fun way to practice that kind of line. So let me show you a picture of the cartoon. Here it is. I call this a dust bunny. And what we're going to do is draw a little cartoon face to anchor it. And we're going to use a pencil and sort of flick our pencil across the paper to get a line that goes from thick to thin, that seems spontaneous. And I'm going to want this to be a soft, furry sort of look. So my first step is I'm going to want to use a soft pencil. That's going to really help with my effect. So I would suggest using either a 2B, 4B, or 6B. Those are sort of our darkest three pencils in our pencil set. So I'm choosing a 6B. I've got my sheet of paper, and now let's just start with our cartoon face. So just, the fun of just drawing two eyes. And the third circle, that will be the nose. And I can add whatever details I like to make it look like a face. Maybe I'll go a little gray to light to gray, gray to white to gray. Maybe put in a little shading, if that's familiar. When we're almost ready to start, the last step I'm going to do just in this prep work is I'm going to color this inner triangle black. That'll give me a nice start to. All right, so now I'm ready to start putting in the fur. So I've got my soft pencil. I'm going to anchor it down, and I'm going to flick my pencil out. And I'm sort of pulling up off the paper so that it feathers out into this sort of faint little point. And I don't have like absolute control. I have an idea where I'm going. I kind of know where I'm flicking my hand towards, but there is going to be sort of this natural curve to it that perhaps I don't have complete careful control. So I'm going to keep flicking this. One thing that's nice about drawings, as opposed to writing, is there's no upside down or right side up, so I can spin my paper, where if I was writing, it's hard to write upside down. And then another thing too is don't feel like you can only go one direction. I can keep filling in. Now that I've got these flicks, I can make it more. So again, unlike writing, we don't just go left to right, and once we've written something, we're done. This is a drawing. We can go back and forth. We can turn it upside down. We can layer in things. I can even, there's a few little gaps. I can even just sort of color them in real softly. And then like that portrait that I showed you at the start, that drawing, you can see how this would be beautiful hair or fur. Or if we're drawing an eye really up close and you can see the eyelashes, this is the kind of line that you might want to create curly, natural looking eyelashes. And it's funny, it takes practice. These aren't the lines that we grow up creating when we're learning to write. So now I'm just going to sort of keep filling it in. And what I'd like you to do, I'd like to encourage you to practice and maybe do 2 dust bunnies. And they are just sort of a fun doodle. They can all look different. They can have different characters. Here's maybe a baby dust bunny. You could start playing around with making the hair longer, shorter, adding bows, whatever makes it fun. But as silly and fun as this cartoon is, just know that there's going to be this meaningful, advanced way to use it to add hair, eyelashes, being able to flick our pencil in a controlled, uncontrolled way to create the feeling of hair. So that's all it takes to create dust bunnies, a fun little cartoon that actually has some really serious payoff.